Welcome to Ganga Tutorials Part 1. In this tutorial we will try to set up Ganga as it is installed on an lxplus node. We will start it up and we will run a simple hello world job first on the local lxplus node and then the same job on the grid. So I'm now sitting on my laptop, and from there I will SSH onto lxplus cern.ch with my username and give the password. I'm now logged on to lxplus236 by chance, and it's a completely clean login with no setup. I have an alias here called Ganga setup, which is this long string. It sources the setup file. I can copy it and do it explicitly for you. It's source afs.cern.ch.software ganga install at setupatlas.sh. You can see why I put an alias to that one. And then if I source this, it says, oh, it's set up Ganga 519. That's the most recent stable Ganga release. So now everything should be set up. I don't need to do anything else, at least not for now. So I can just say Ganga and the program should start. First thing it does is to ask me for my grid certificate, since I've said previously in a config file that I'm a member of the Atlas VO, so it knows that I will most likely run grid jobs. So I type in my grid password, and then the real Ganga starts up. Here we go. I have not used this node before, so my job repository is empty. It found 0 jobs, 0 templates. If I type jobs to see my list, there's nothing there. So the first thing we do is to create a job object. J equals job. Enter. Now if I hit J, I can print out this whole job object. You can see this is some lines of text. It's a job status. Well, it's new. I haven't done anything to it yet. It's a job name. It has an input and an output directory. There's an output sandbox. There's a job ID. It's job number 0 since it's my first one. I can give it an input data. I can give it an application, output data, a splitter, all these things that a job actually needs. Now the important thing now is I wanted to have an application on my job. I wanted to do something. And in this case it comes with the default echo with arguments hello world. Okay, and the backend by default is local, so it's just a local node. So if I want to run echo hello world on the lxplus node that I happen to be on, I just say j.submit. Enter. I can't type apparently. Submit. There we go. Right. Submitting job 0. Job 0 submitted to local backend, and job 0 status changed to submitted. Now the monitoring of this thing is going in the background. Just saying echo hello world should be rather fairly quick on a local machine. So let me just hit enter and see what the monitoring has given me. Well, running completed. Now if I say J again to print the output of the job, you can say job status completed, etc., etc., and there's now some information here in the backend object that the actual compute element was lxplus236, and the working directory that it used was a place under temp, under my temp area here. And the output directory, there should probably be some output, and I can say I could either cd into this directory here to see the files, or I can say j.peek to list them. And okay, there's a standard out and a standard error here, so I can peek the standard output file. This gives me less of this output file, and it just says hello world. Yeah, good. Okay, so far so good. Now I want this thing to run on the grid. So let me create a new job. J equals job again, replacing the J object. Printing this, it's exactly the same as before, except now it's job number 1. I can even list my jobs. Here, say jobs, and job number 0 here is completed, it's in blue, whereas job number 1 is new. I'll just keep the executable object because I just want to say hello world on the grid as well. But now I can say j.backend equals, say for instance, LCG. I want this to run somewhere on LCG. I say j.submit. Okay, it says submitting job 1. Submitted job 1 to the LCG backend, and job 1 status changed to submitted. Now this job has now gone somewhere on the grid. Let's see if we can find out where. Hit J, and under backend LCG, you can see it has status waiting. It's been sent somewhere. It's using the glite middleware. It does not have a compute element as of yet. It has been given a job ID with the CERN WMS and all these kinds of things. You don't really need to care about a lot of these things, but the information is there should you need it. And there's information about so-called sandbox cache, which is a tarball of the files that are needed to send this job. There's not a lot to do to send a hello world job, but it's still there. The system is there. Hitting enter again. Let's just see J. Okay, now it's gone somewhere. Now we have an actual CE here. tbit01 nipna.ro. So that's where the job went. Status is ready at the moment. We can wait, and this might take some time. While we're doing that, let's do something else. I can create another job. Let's call this thing J2 then, the second grid test. J equals job, 2 equals job. And J2 this time I want the backend to be NG for NordGrid. You have to do this instead to get onto the NDGF cloud in Atlas. So say j2.submit. This is still just an echo hello world job. It says submitting job 2, submitting job 2 to the NG backend. Sometimes submission is fast, sometimes submission is slow. This depends on how much the various job brokering mechanisms actually have to do. When you submit a job like this to NordGrid, it actually has quite a few sites to go to, so this usually takes some time because there are some sites to go through. So for this one, we may have to wait a bit. It's trying to find out what resources are actually available to you and select a site where the job will run reasonably fast. So hopefully you will get paid back later on. This submission takes time. Looks like we're actually a bit unlucky. Now Ganga hangs while submitting. This is to ensure that nothing bad happens to your job object while it is actually submitting. Other things in Ganga, like the monitoring, is always running in the background, so that if, say, my job number 1, if that one actually finished while this job was submitting, this would be fine. You just don't get to control your job object, so you can't change it while the thing is submitted. But it went to submitted. Now hitting enter again to see if there's anything from monitoring. No, but I can look at J2, and this thing went to, okay, it happened to go to ceo1.titan.uio.no. This is University of Oslo, my home institution, so that's always nice. It could have gone anywhere on the NDGF cloud. Again, now I have several jobs to monitor, so I can just type jobs and see what comes out. We have job 1 submitted, it went to this site. We have job 2 submitted. There, job 2 status changed to submitted. So now we have all the information that went to ceo1 titan.uio.no, etc. And then things are usually stuck in queues. You don't really usually use the grid for just an echo hello world job. So, but then in a while these jobs will finish. The output will come back, and you can monitor them just like you did for job number 0. So what we've done now is we've taken a very simple job, we've run it on a local lxplus node, and then we've done, by changing just one line of code, we've done exactly the same thing on LCG or on NDGF. In a later installment of these Ganga tutorials, we will see what we can do with slightly more complex jobs, like for instance an Athena job. So since nothing seems to be happening right now, we've ended up on slow queues, I think we will quit for now, and then come back a bit later on and look at an Athena job. exiting Ganga, logging off from lxplus. Ciao.